protect our freedom and our democratic process. I am committed to doing that no matter what the short-term political consequences might be.
That was all from Liz Cheney in the Washington Post. So what happens to a political party when telling truth is grounds for expulsion? John Avlon with a reality check.
There was once a fear that took over the Republican Party in the nation. It was spread by a bullying demagogue who accused his opponents of being traitors and communists. He leveled fact-free attacks and said he represented Americanism with its sleeves up. His supporters embraced a cult of personality drenched in conspiracy theories, sure that God was on their side. Their intensity, their crushing certainty, intimidated most politicians into silence. They didn't want the trouble of being attacked by the party's activist base. They knew it was wrong, but worried that if they told the truth, they could lose a primary election. But one woman decided to speak up. Her name was Margaret Chase Smith, the first woman popularly elected to the U.S. Senate. The time was 1950, and her target was Senator Joe McCarthy. She stood alone on the floor of the Senate and issued what she called a declaration of conscience. No cameras captured the speech that day, but here's part of what she said. Today, our country is being psychologically divided by the confusions and the suspicions that spread like cancerous tentacles of know-nothing, suspect-everything attitudes. An election was looming, and Chase wanted the GOP to win, but she said, I don't want to see the Republican Party ride to political victory on the four horsemen of calumny: fear, ignorance, bigotry, and smear. Her lonely stand inspired more of her fellow senators to find the courage to speak up. McCarthy became isolated, consumed by lawsuits and scandals, ultimately revealed as a petty, paranoid narcissist. He died widely reviled. Now, the fact that Joe McCarthy's lawyer, Roy Cohn, later went on to mentor Donald Trump is more than a coincidence of history. It's doubly ironic because of Trump's refusal to ever condemn the Kremlin. But the most relevant echo is the lonely stand of Congresswoman Liz Cheney and her looming purge from House leadership for the sin of refusing to back the big lie. Now, Trump will look no better than Joe McCarthy in the eyes of history, and neither will his spineless apologists. Republicans Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise have found a young Congresswoman named Elise Stefanik to check the box and fill the slot for a woman in leadership, a word that's apparently been redefined to mean unquestioning follower. The divisions inside the Republicans Party used to be about ideology, but that's not what's at work here. Because Liz Cheney is far more conservative than Elise Stefanik by every policy measure. Cheney voted with Trump almost 93% of the time. Stefanik just under 78%. Cheney has a 78% rating from the American Conservative Union, while Stefanik is just under 44%. And the Fiscal Conservative Club for Growth fired off a tweet saying that Stefanik has the fourth worst fiscal conservative record among House Republicans. So this isn't about ideology. It's about a cult of personality in a party consumed by fear. And it can cause opportunistic people to shed their principles like a snake's old skin. Because Stefanik worked in the Bush-Cheney administration. She was an acolyte of Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. The Harvard-educated upstate New Yorker became the youngest woman elected to the House. She promised to work across the aisle and modernize the Republican Party. In 2016, she was a supporter of John Kasich. So what happened? It looks like the age-old siren song of power and money over ethics. Because when Trump was impeached the first time, Stefanik saw an opportunity to play partisan pitbull. And she was rewarded with $13 million in donations for her re-election campaign. Sucking up to Trump paid. She won praise from the president on Fox News. So when it came time to vote to overturn the election after the attack on the Capitol, Stefanik was a willing soldier in the sedition caucus. She became just another Ivy League populist who attacks democracy and then complains when she's called out. Now she sees an opportunity to ride the big lie to more power. Her re-election slogan might as well be "Liars Prosper." Liz Cheney's chosen another path and a higher reward, writing, "History is watching. Our children are watching. We must be brave enough to defend the basic principles that underpin and protect our freedom and our democratic process. I'm committed to doing that, no matter what the short-term political consequences might be." That's a declaration of conscience for our times. A reminder that our political differences don't matter much compared to whether we defend the truth and democracy itself. And that's your reality check.